One more game tonight in Dallas. Cardinals and Cowboys. Arizona coming off a bye. Jacoby Brissett will start at quarterback once again as Kyler Murray set to miss his third straight game with a foot sprain. I'm now joined by Carthon and Bryant McFadden to tackle tonight's Monday Night Football game. And boy, Cardinals going to be without Kyler Murray for yet another week. They had the bye week, hoping he was going to be available. ESPN does report that he's going to be in an emergency capacity, Rand. So give me a sense of Arizona going with the veteran Jacoby Brissett once again.
I think there's been a difference with Jacoby Brissett in the lineup versus when Kyler Murray was in the lineup. I think Jacoby Brissett allows them to play on time, right? Because granted, he isn't as mobile as Kyler Murray, but I think so much of the offense is predicated on Kyler Murray being able to move, scramble, and create those extended plays downfield, whereas Jacoby Brissett, he's going to drop back, he's going to process and get the ball out 1, 2, 3, whichever guy's open. And I think that allows these receivers, particularly Marvin Harrison Jr., know where if I'm at the top of my route and I'm open, I know the ball's coming and we don't have to resort to the scramble drill.
Yeah, you talk about Jacoby Brissett. He's a serviceable backup quarterback for the Arizona Cardinals. I mean, the pros, you hit on it, Rand. His ability to see the football field well and play with rhythm, play with timing in terms of the passing game. Now, the con is the ability to improvise and extend plays. Because to your point also, Kyler Murray is a very, very athletic, quick, elusive quarterback. You don't have the same thing when you have Jacoby Brissett in the lineup. So it's the pros and the cons. But when you talk about just not having your starting quarterback in Kyler Murray, no question, Jacoby Brissett is the next best option.
Yep, 2 starts this season, 65% completion percentage. Now, they've lost some games, which we're going to talk about right now, but they have been close. They have been one-possession games. And to your point, Rand, those receivers, they run those routes. They know they don't have to run the route, and then maybe do scramble drills that they have to see with Kyler Murray. All right, so Arizona's lost 5 straight after a 2-0 start. I mentioned the close losses here. B-Mac, let me just reel off a couple of things here, right? Because they had that one-possession loss against Green Bay. They led each of the last 2 games by 10 or more points, and they've also led in every game this season. What's been the most disappointing thing when it comes to the recent form of the Cardinals?
Well, instead of finding ways to win, they find ways to lose. Now, let's keep it real. They've been hit with the injury bug in terms of injuries to key players, especially on the offensive side of the football field. But no one cares about your pains in the National Football League. They applaud your problems. It's up to you to find a way to get the job done. And in those missed opportunities and the inability to close out those ball games, 2 things have surfaced. They can't run the football. When you look at teams that have leads, especially in the second half, the best way to close the ball game is to run the football, run it effectively. That works, that takes time off the clock, and it keeps the opposing offense on the sideline. But they haven't been able to do that, and a lot of that has to do with not having their starting running back in James Conner, and then the backup running back in Trey Benson, who was supposed to fill in for James Conner. He's missing time. So when you look at the injuries in the backfield, the offensive line, I mean, not running the football when you have a lead and you become one-dimensional is not the ideal recipe for success in terms of winning, more so than losing.
Yeah, and for me, I think the run game, and I'm former running back, so I'm going to always say if you're not running the football well, that's going to spell a problem. But the other side for me is their inability to get the quarterback on the ground. They rank in the bottom third in terms of their defense, in terms of being able to get sacks. And so we know creating those sacks create those long yardage situations, which basically insinuates that the offense is going to have to give up on 3rd down and punt on 4th down, but they hadn't been able to get the quarterback on the ground. And like B-Mac said, and you mentioned, when you have a lead, you have to be able to turn around, hand the ball off, get those couple first downs, even if the drive ends in a punt, but you've ran off a lot of time, and they haven't been able to do so.
Yeah, they have not been able to do so. It'll be a task, even if they get a lead against this Dallas team, which we know they can put up some points. Dak Prescott coming off arguably his worst game. He's having a fantastic season, Rand. A lot of it had to do with that Denver defense. We know they like to get at the quarterback here. Was there anything outside of that tough defense that gives you any kind of concern when it comes to Dak Prescott?
No, because I think as a whole, you talk about complementary football on the offensive side of the ball. Javonte Williams has been a stud for them this year in terms of running the football, and he looks to be back in form. And then you have the 2-headed monster out there at wide receiver. And let's not forget about his connection with Ferguson. Like they're completing balls at a high clip, and he's getting in the end zone at a high rate. So Dak Prescott is playing top-level football. The problem for this Dallas football team has been the defense. And you have an offense in which is averaging 31 points a game, which is second in the league. But on the flip side, the defense is giving up 31 points in the league. And that's just hard, man. It's hard when you score that many points and know that there's still an opportunity for you to lose.
B-Mac?
Yeah, this is a get-right moment for the Dallas Cowboys because of what did not go right for them in their last outing against the Denver Broncos. Yes, Denver, their defense is elite. And for the Dallas Cowboys, they missed key opportunities to put points on the scoreboard in the red zone, and they were fighting from behind. And you do not want to have that mindset offensively when you're playing against the pass rushers the Denver Broncos have at their disposal. And yes, the concerns for the Dallas Cowboys defensively, they have been well documented. I don't know who is worse, the Dallas Cowboys defense or the Cincinnati Bengals defense. Either or, being in the same category is not a good thing, and that has been the issue for the Dallas Cowboys. But when you look at the team they're playing against today, Jacoby Brissett in his last 6 starts, 4 with the New England Patriots a year ago, and of course 2 this season with the Arizona Cardinals, they've averaged 16 points per ball game. 16 points per ball game, regardless of the defense they're playing against. So for sake of argument, with how bad the defense has been for the Dallas Cowboys, let's just add another 10 points to that 16-point average. 26, when you look at what the Dallas Cowboys have been averaging offensively, especially at home, they should be okay, in my opinion.
All right, 2 picks in that game against Denver, just to button up, because I know you guys want to get to that defense. 5-1 career Monday night for Dak Prescott, 14 touchdowns, just 2 interceptions. All right, you guys both hinted at the defense. Let's sort of unpack it a little bit more. Again, we already knew this. Calling them average at best is a compliment, obviously, but they're also just banged up with Trayvon Diggs on IR. You talk about Clark, Wilson, Sanborn, Overshown already missing this game tonight. Statistically, categorically, there's nothing flattering about the defense here for Dallas. So, Rand, how do you try to mend things and put something together here for this game?
This is one of those games that you need a game like this coming in, knowing that you're going up against the backup quarterback. And this is, B-Mac said, a get-right game. It's the same thing for the defense. This is a get-right game for this defense, to be able to hold down the offense and have them be comfortable stating that if you get us 31 points, we'll find a way to close this out for you. I showed you off camera. This Dallas defense ranks in the bottom third in 12 statistical categories.
There's a lot of red you showed me.
It's a lot of red. It's a lot of red in there. But, and I quote this, and I'm glad we have B-Mac on. I quote B-Mac every chance I get in terms of philosophy for the defense. Make it hot so we can squat. I always quote B-Mac on that. This Dallas front has to find a way to get after the passer and make it uncomfortable for him back there because of the lack of weapons that they have in terms of their secondary. But they also have guys in the secondary, Deron Bland being one, that if they have a rush and the ball has to come out quick, these guys can jump these passes and be able to take it the distance and be able to score and help this offense out. So this is a get-right game for this Dallas defense. This is an opportunity for them to go out and potentially hold their opponent under 31 points.
You know, Dallas Cowboys defensively, they have a luxury that 80%, 85% of the defense of the National Football League don't have. All they got to do is get 4 stops a game. That's it. Because of your offense being so prolific, if you get 4 stops per ball game, your offense will have the extra possessions to be able to do what they've been doing the entire season, especially at home, score points. So you think about that mindset. If you're Matt Eberflus, hey man, if we can just get 1 stop per quarter, that's it. Y'all don't have to play lights out. Just get 1 stop per quarter. We're going to be in a good position to win a ball game. And the last thing I'll say about this defense in tonight's matchup, we know they've been vulnerable to allowing things to happen positive from the opposing offense in between the 20s. But in the red zone, they have to play what I call elbow defense. Bend but don't break. Your elbow, it bends, but it never breaks, especially if you're bending in the right direction, first and foremost. But that's what they got to do. Play elbow defense in the red zone, because they have given up positive things in between the 20s. But if you can play great red elbow defense and force the Arizona Cardinals to settle for field goals, yes, you should be okay in this ball game, because Dak Prescott, they're going to get right. Ferguson, CD, George, Javante, they're going to get right. For the Dallas Cowboys, play elbow defense in the red zone, force them to settle for field goals. You should be okay.
Yeah, I'm getting a sense of your guys' expectations for this unit. Just don't give up 30. Just don't give up 25. Forget BMAX teams where you're like, don't give up 14. When we're talking about what they gave up 40 against the Broncos, 5th in their last 2 seasons. Only the Panthers are tied with the Cowboys, giving up that many points. So that being said, we expect there to be a shootout. Points are expected to be put on the board. But Rand, in terms of what you think the difference will be in this game, what will be the difference and which team will come out on top?
Well, first and foremost, I'm picking the Dallas Cowboys.
Okay.
And I'm picking the Dallas Cowboys because of this offense and this offense's ability to put up points. Like I said, the performance that we saw last week out of the Dallas Cowboys, I don't expect to see that in back-to-back weeks. And again, BMAC just hit all those weapons that they have. Ferguson, CeeDee Lamb, George Pickens, Javonte Williams. Those guys will get it going tonight for Dak Prescott, and I think that they will put up their average of 30-plus points a game. And like B-Mac said, if this defense just get their 4 stops, 1 a quarter, you said it, B-Mac, 1 a quarter. If we get that, then I think Dallas runs away with this game.
All right, B-Mac, the line is, go ahead.
No, I'm right there with Rand, but I know, Tom, you're going to tee me up with the line. In terms of the spread, last time I checked, I think the Cowboys are laying 3.
Yep.
That's correct, right?
Yep.
All right. I'm taking the Cowboys to cover this spread for sure, and here's why. In terms of trends, when it comes to betting, you got to follow the trend. The trend is your friend. Dak Prescott in his career in Monday night opportunities, ATS, against the spread, he is 5-1 in his career. He's only lost against the spread once. I love that trend. And secondly, our graphics team did a great job with that graphic. When you talk about what the Dallas Cowboys have done at home this season, right at home, they're in Jerry's world. They've averaged 41 points per ball game. Point differential plus 8.3 point differential compared to being on the road where they've averaged 24 points per ball game. Point differential minus 5.8. So when you talk about what they do at home against whoever it is they've been playing against, they scored 40 plus and they have a positive point differential. Not to mention this team in the Arizona Cardinals, we already talked about the injuries. They're playing with Jacoby Brissett. I gave the numbers. His last 6 starts, his offense has averaged 16 points per ball game. 16 points. So like I said, for sake of argument, Rand, let's throw an extra 10 on that 16. 26. Based on what the numbers are telling all of us, 26 won't get the job done in terms of covering this spread when the Cowboys will score at least 40 because that's what they've been doing at home. Give me the Cowboys to cover this 3-point spread.
All right, B-Mac sounding like he likes the Cowboys, probably likes Cowboys team total because this one's at 53.5. So if you hold Arizona some field goals, maybe you play it that way if you're going to do it. B-Mac, certainly appreciate it. Rand, thank you very much. Game day recap. Boy, they've had a couple of fun weeks as of late. Danny Cannell was in for Damian Harris last night with Pete Prisco and Haley Sutton. Make sure to catch him Sundays at 8:20 Eastern.
And B-Mac, send us more cookies.